Hi, everyone. This is Jackie Cooper. I'm with the Blockchain Legal Institute and also Crypto Mom 2 talk shows. But today I have a very special episode of the Bermuda Career Day talk show. And as those that are starting to listen to this vertical know, the purpose of the Career Day talk show is to provide you as listeners, whether you are in elementary, middle, or high school, or even in college, information so that way you can look at the possibility of careers or career switching. My background is a career switcher, so I know that the skills that I developed when I was younger are now being applied to things that I never thought I would actually get into, from writing books to working in the blockchain space. So you can do anything you put your mind on, and the degree that you start with might be different than where you end up. But I'm really excited today to be talking to the person who's in charge of a very special company as I was looking at Relm, because I've really haven't looked at insurance for a very long time. To be fully honest, my grandfather started an insurance company in Michigan. So I knew about insurance, but I never knew the diversity of the products and also the companies that you actually serve. So Joe, welcome to the episode of Bermuda Career Day Talk Show. I know you and I talked prior, and your background is also very diverse. And you're very community minded, and there's a lot of heart in what you do. Why don't you share with everyone who's listening how you got into this space and your vision for the company, and then we're going to share the screen.
Sure. Yeah, Jackie, thanks so much. It's great to be on your show. I think it's a really fantastic cause. Yeah, perhaps maybe not too dissimilar to yourself. I didn't anticipate a career in insurance. I graduated with a degree in management and business, and immediately found my way into consulting and real estate development. It was really, looking back on it, a really fortuitous set of circumstances that put me in a position to begin not just understanding, but appreciating the important role that insurance plays across every single industry sector on a global scale. And I actually came into the insurance industry through the alternative side, which I think was a really important set of circumstances. My sense is if I had come into the insurance industry through a more traditional avenue, I might have gotten out just as quickly as I got in. But fortunately, I spent, at least the first half a dozen years working on setting up captive insurance and reinsurance facilities, right? Helping companies execute on these alternative risk financing and alternative risk transfer strategies. And while that sounds, potentially complicated, when you look at the global insurance marketplace, so much of this $100 trillion industry takes place in the traditional sense, where you have companies or people paying premiums to insurance companies to retain the risk of loss, right? But on the alternative side, I was working directly with these companies to use insurance and reinsurance infrastructure to help them achieve outcomes or conclusions that were really impossible through traditional insurance market channels. So I was working on product development initiatives. I was working on strategies to help companies retain underwriting profit, access, reinsurance. It was this kind of petri dish of really wonderful things that I never really appreciated about the insurance industry. And once I started peeling back that cover, to me, it was just fascinating. And I kept going in deeper and broader. And before I knew it, I
So
was in the insurance.
you're using a lot of vocabulary, and so I'm going to try to break it out because we have a lot of different levels of listeners here. Um,
Sure.
you know, I think that everyone might understand what insurance is, but what is reinsurance? When you put the RE in front of the word insurance, what would it mean for someone who's new to this space?
Yeah. So reinsurance is insurance for insurance companies,
Huh?
right? So if you think about, an insurance company issues all of these policies, and that means it's warehousing all of this risk arising from each insurance contract that it's selling to people or companies. And in order to manage its own capital and balance sheet efficiently, insurance companies also need a way to lay that risk off. And the most traditional way to do that is through reinsurance.
So again, being both the lawyer and the teacher here, I'm also hearing other vocabulary that the students might not understand or be familiar with. You talk a lot about the financial side of things. So when you got into the insurance side, did you have to understand, all about the accounting, or is it, is that a skill that someone needs to think about, or maybe not?
I think it is. I mean, my favorite, I look back on all the textbooks that I have reviewed really as a self-starter and a self-learner, just really genuinely interested in how the insurance industry worked. And one of the first textbooks I read and took a subsequent exam from the institutes was insurance company operations, right? How did these insurance companies actually work? Understanding from not just the underwriting side of things, which is where the risk selection ultimately happens, but from the finance and accounting side, from the marketing, sales, distribution, reinsurance, just really having a holistic understanding of how the insurance industry functioned, and then being able to kind of follow my interests into the different kind of nooks and crannies of the insurance world where I thought were most stimulating and I could potentially create the most value.
I'm going to show the website because there's so much rich information here. And one of the things that I might share for anyone who's listening, whether you're in elementary, middle, or high school, or even in college, when you are trying to explore careers, go visit websites and see what they have on them. They're very different. They will have a lot of information, and write down your questions. So when you, and feel free to reach out to people and companies and ask questions, even if you might not be looking for an internship or a job, but this is the way that you can actually see if this is something that you like. I know when I was younger in college, I interned in 3 different areas, and I realized I did not want to go into a traditional law practice, even though I interned for a major law firm. So it's really important that as you kind of develop your own career goals and vision, that you kind of explore different areas. I'm seeing Relm, the insurance. What I see at the top is the description about the company and the team, the careers, the corporate citizenship, and the claims. We're going to go back to that in a second. I see the expertise here. Very interesting digital assets, the fintech, the esports, and the cannabis and psychedelics. We have the strength and stability here. We have coverage. And if you take a look at this, there's a lot of information here for someone who might be looking at, like, what is cyber liability? What's fiduciary liability, smart contract failure, all these rich vocabulary. So again, if you're a student and you don't know what this is, it's important for you to ask the questions. Where, if someone was starting out looking at Relm, where would you want them to start? Where to kind of explore?
Yeah, I think, if you go back to our homepage, right, we actually have our vision statement right in the middle of the page, right? Making innovation resilient. So, as an insurance company, if you think about how large the insurance landscape ultimately is, so much of the insurance capacity and the insurance products that exist in the marketplace are really geared toward traditional companies doing traditional things. But I feel, personally and certainly as a company, that there are people doing amazing things in some of the most innovative and forward-thinking and progressive sectors. And because of the way the insurance industry works, which is to say, it's very much a backwards looking industry that uses historical information to predict the future, it means that if you're doing something new and innovative and different, there are very few insurance companies that ultimately are going to accommodate the types of exposures arising from your operations. And so really, I think in order to find the type of people that are stimulated by our website and interested in what we're doing as an insurance company, they really need to be people who are focused on the future, focused on supporting companies and individuals who are doing really the most innovative things and utilizing our products, our insurance products and our capacity and solutions to really find alignment in a way to help these companies continue to do great things and scale their products and services across the globe.
So you're Bermuda based, which is awesome. How are you supporting the community? Because I know you are.
Yeah, so the I think just the idea of being a good corporate citizen is something we take seriously. It's embedded in, I like to think our corporate culture, and it really started with just a recognition that we don't, I guess maybe perhaps a little bit different from the traditional insurance company. I'm not necessarily always looking for the people who have the most professional experience in the insurance industry. I'm looking for people who are, creative and energetic and smart and self-starters. And because of that, we wanted to make sure that we were supporting the Bermuda Foundation for Insurance Services, right? BFIS. It's a really great organization on the island that I think curates and attracts young talent that is interested in finding their way into some aspect of the insurance marketplace, whether that's finance and accounting, actuarial, underwriting, reinsurance, et cetera. And we've now provided, I think, either 3 or 4 $10,000 scholarships for BFIS scholars. We've also taken on interns from BFIS. We've hired former BFIS scholars. And we've also worked with the Bermuda government to provide government interns with access to internship opportunities in different aspects of our core functions. Beyond what I like to think is the academic kind of and professional development. We've also participated in a number of beach cleanups, right? I'm personally passionate about the ocean,
Yeah.
about the health of our reefs, and if there's a way that we can expand or extend a little bit of our bandwidth to try to clean up the beach and the ocean in general, that's something we've definitely spent some time doing. We've also helped out in Miami with a number of different homeless shelters. There's one particularly great spot in Miami called the Chapman House. It's the only homeless shelter in Miami that takes in families
Oh,
and pets. So we've helped out with different food services. We've sponsored over 100 families for this past Christmas with gifts. So yeah, it's been a great opportunity to use Relm as a platform to not just help companies do really innovative things, but also to give back to the community. And I think also help cultivate some potentially great talent through some of the more academic and professional initiatives that we really enjoy supporting.
all of those are areas that I think are extremely important, and I know you and I will have side conversations about all of those. But in terms of individuals that might want to work at Realm or within the insurance business, if you were to give them any guidance as to the type of maybe classes or major to take, do you think that, there might be traditional majors, but are there other alternative ways that they can learn the skills that maybe would benefit them to be in the insurance industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there actually are a number, probably a half a dozen universities in the US, with well-known insurance and risk management degrees. So the University of Georgia has one, St. Joe's in Philly's has one. Like I said, there are about a half dozen universities that are pretty well known for the risk and insurance related degrees. I would say, outside of a specific degree in the industry, I think if you look at the institutes.org is a fantastic website where you can get really well-respected, credible insurance certifications in every aspect of insurance operations, from underwriting, obtaining the CPCU, which is the Chartered Property and Casualty Underwriting certification. It takes about 2 years, a number of courses and exams, but there are less, I would say, imposing certifications you get in claims. There's, different programs for accounting and finance and technology in the insurance industry. And then, more generally, I would say, I graduated with a degree in business management, and really no part of my academic curriculum was focused in any way directly on the insurance field. But I think it's the ability to get through college in a way that, you're holding yourself to a higher standard. It doesn't matter if you're a world history major or a finance major. If you're holding yourself to a really high standard, you're getting through projects and you're getting through your academic curriculum in a way that you feel proud of your achievements. And I think that momentum really lends itself to participating in any industry. And then it becomes a function of internships and job opportunities. I think you can't avail yourself to enough of those internship opportunities because it gives you, I think, two really important perspectives. Oftentimes, clarity on what you don't want to do,
Yes.
and also enhanced clarity and network uh, capabilities with people in industries you might be really interested in.
And that's a thread that, again, was mentioned with some of the other individuals that I've interviewed for the Bermuda Career Day talk show. Networking. You never know where your next job might come from, because someone might know of someone and they might say, okay, this person, was a great intern and this is a great fit, So again, it's all about making sure that you always keep the doors open, because again, our community is small, and as we see, online, the world's getting even smaller. Definitely
Sure.
smaller. You've talked about the traditional side. I'm taking a look for those that are on the audio, definitely hop over to the video side. But I'm looking at these again. Your company is very forward thinking. So, how would someone maybe get some background in smart contracts or cyber, or well, you have slashing insurance, that's an interesting terminology, tech and
Right.
EO, alternative risk transfer. These are highly technical terms, and if someone wanted to get background on any of this to kind of understand more about these areas, where would you suggest that they go?
So I think, and we could honestly do a better job organizing the insurance products on our website into, traditional property and casualty insurance products for things like cyber liability, fiduciary liability, directors and officers liability. These are insurance products that have existed for decades and can be issued to companies doing really innovative things or companies doing very, traditional things with traditional products and services. So again, I think a great source of information would be, you know, obviously you could just simply Google something as simple as, what is directors and officers liability insurance, do some basic web searches to learn about traditional insurance products. And then we really do have some innovative products that we've developed, like smart contract failure and slashing insurance. And, if you think about smart contract failure, it really ties to an exposure arising from, the evolving decentralized financial landscape, right? In the traditional financial services world, if you want to trade products or if you want to enter into a service agreement with a financial services company, it's almost always going to be intermediated. There are going to be people involved. There are going to be contracts that need to be executed or engagement letters. And a really, I think, fascinating evolution to the financial services industry is this idea of decentralized finance, where you as a participant in the financial landscape can actually enter into contracts and access products and services without any sort of intermediation. It's actually all programmatic. So there are contracts that are developed into the software infrastructure, and they're self-executing. And when you think about the idea of financial transactions being made more accessible and disintermediated, and therefore more cost effective, the implications of that technology is massive. I think it's really important, but it creates a vulnerability when the underlying code of those programmed contracts doesn't work as intended. And so the financial consequences when these smart contracts, if you will, fail is potentially massive. And so we've developed an insurance product that provides a source of financial recovery in the event that smart contracts fail to execute in an intended manner.
You know what I love about how you're speaking and explaining all this, and for those that are listening, again, elementary, middle, or high school or college, you might, have an internship in a company like Relm, and then you might go into a business that might be using this technology, within the DeFi world. And you're going to have some background knowledge, and then you're going to come back to a company like Realm and say, okay, we need to use your services. So it's really important, as you are kind of exploring all these areas and you're trying to figure out your career path, to keep open to the idea that some of those
Definitely.
puzzle pieces might fit. And, it is amazing how it all comes back sometimes full circle. So, what last minute thoughts do you have for any of the students that might be listening, or young adults thinking about going into this industry, or anything that you see, in the future within your industry, because I know there's a lot of evolution going on.
I would say number one, keep an open mind, right? If you're like most people, you perceive the insurance industry to potentially be kind of boring, somewhat square. But what I've seen over the last nearly 15 years in the insurance industry and kind of the niches and the corners of the market that I've played in, it's some of the most fascinating stuff I've ever been involved with professionally. So I would say don't paint with broad strokes. Keep an open mind, engage with people in the industry, ask questions, put yourself out there. And certainly, I think you can't begin that internship journey soon enough. I look back on a lot of the guidance I had, and it was you should get an internship in between your junior and senior year in college. And I've got a 16-year-old son now, and I have him interning now so that he can begin developing the professional network, perspective, professional experience, etiquette, emails. I mean, there's so much about those internship experiences that I think are so critical to being well positioned as a potential hire once you are ready to go that route. So keep an open mind, ask a lot of questions, and put yourself out there.
I definitely agree with you. And remember, everyone, the Realm website and other information that was mentioned in the show will be in the blog below. If you have questions, reach out, send an email, because we're here to answer those questions and to do additional episodes, so that way we can make sure that you have full understanding of the variety of career paths that, exist in today's world. So everyone, definitely, we appreciate your hopping on here. And Joe, thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate you. And as I say at the end of all my shows, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all so interconnected. We're all part of one world. And now today, even more. So everyone, have a great day, and we will talk soon. Bye, guys.